Hello. Hello, everyone. This is Omar from the third rail. What's up, everybody? We're chilling to the bottom. Dum, 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 dum. Drinking candle. Dum, 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 dum. Hello, everyone. This is Omar from the third rail. Love you all. Thank you for being here. God bless everybody. Thank you to India, to Egypt, to Indonesia, to Mexico, to all over the world, to the people who tune into this channel who don't write nothing and I mute son of a bitches, but it's okay. You're my mute. Not monetizing this channel no more. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the whole idea is that they say that one of you guys manipulating the views. I don't know who it is, but I don't really care. Anyway, had a good week. Sometimes, I try to do a show, but I don't have that energy, man. Sometimes, I'm trying to do a show, but you don't have that energy. You don't know what to talk about, and it takes 3-4 days until you start thinking about what you're going to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. Let me see if because it kind of froze, man. Everybody write a comment, press like, please. Can you press like at least? Press like. Give me 34 likes at least. Come on. Please, give me some likes, man. Everybody got likes except me. Everybody's making fun of me. Omar, your channel doesn't have any likes. What? I do have likes. They like me. No, they don't like you, Omar. All right. Yeah, I'm on, baby. I'm going, baby. All right, let's go. Get going. What's going on? Israel has decided to go into Rafah. They want to kill another 30, 40,000 people. You cannot protest against Israel any place in the world. If you protest, you're anti-Semite. You hate Jews. Why? Before the war in Gaza, ladies and gentlemen here in the United States, if you had a Jewish friend or anything, you say, oh, are you a dual citizenship? Look, I'm a dual citizen. I have a Yemeni passport, which I don't use. It's okay, but my loyalty is with the United States. They're like, how could you? That is a anti-Semitism trope. You know why it's anti-Semitism? Why? Because you are saying that I have dual loyalty. Well, we saw you have it now. You all became Zionists overnight. So let me start the show slowly and surely. What we're going through here in the United States is you could protest against anybody. You could talk about any country, but you cannot talk about Israel. They just made a new law. It's not law yet, but they passed it in the House, the GOP, which every single one of them is owned by AIPAC, a Jewish lobbying group called AIPAC. Is Jewish because it's not a foreign. See, we can't conflate. We got to choose. You cannot be Israeli when you want and Jewish when you want. We need to know. So AIPAC is a domestic organization. So it's a Jewish organization. It's not Israeli. If it was an Israeli lobbying group, it will register as a foreign entity. You know what I'm saying? So the issue here, we don't know how to talk. You understand? So you saw what happened when the students started to protest and do these encampments. All of a sudden, the media, corporate America, and who the other motherfucker is, man? I'm being brain dead here. Corporate America, which are the corporations that advertise and donate to universities, say they're not going to donate no more money because there's a protest against Israel. That's corporate America, right? The media, which the mainstream media, if you watch Morning Joe, that piece of shit, Morning Joe is a grifter. He's a right-wing piece of shit. He came to power during the New Ginger's revolution where the contract with America, all of a sudden. So Joe Biden watches MSNBC every morning, and he watches Morning Joe, and everybody who wants to get a message to him all of a sudden gets on Morning Joe and yells at the camera and Joe Biden listens. You have the ADL, you have everything, Israeli ambassadors. Anyway, and so we got the media, which has been lying. They have created this storm and have took the narrative from a demonstration against genocide and to divest investment from Israel, so to put pressure on them to come with a deal and give the Palestinians their own country like South Africa did. They say, well, this is anti-Semitism. You hate the Jews. Then the other class is the political class. The political class, America's politician, the majority, they don't have no balls. You know the balls? Nothing. Every single one of them has got at least 100, 200, 300. I'll show you in a minute. 300,000 from AIPAC. So you're saying, Omar, why are you saying all this crazy shit? Because I'm going to show you a video from the New York City mayor when he lies. He's a fucking liar. So the whole issue here we have is, if you protest or boycott Israel, then you hate American Jews. So what they did is they just married both words, American Jews and Israeli Jews. So right now, when we talk about it, is we're going to say that the Jewish state, no more Israeli. I'm not going to use the word Israeli because we saw in America's university that if you protest against the Zionists in Israel, then you hate American Jews. We don't hate American Jews. A lot of American Jews do not associate themselves with Zionism. A lot of American Jewish students are against what's going on in Gaza. Believe it or not, the American Jews don't think the same. I mean, you have, the old timers, the Zionists, oh, we need Israel. And you have the young and enlightened and liberal-minded Jews who are saying, well, how can we say that we suffered in Germany such abuse under Hitler and under the Nazis of starvation, ghettoization, of our neighborhoods became ghettos. We were killed and murdered for no reason, but it's okay for us to do it in Israel. You understand what I'm saying? This is the problem. Anyway, let's start the show. We're going to watch a video from fucking Piers Morgan, but let's start with the mayor of New York. This is the mayor of New York. This is, hold on. You are. All right. Oh.
Adams of New York City. Mr. Mayor, good morning.
No. Not doing it right here. I did this new thing with the StreamYard where I could do this. All right, we're going to start watching a little video here to see what's going on. This is the mayor of New York City. Mayor Adam is not a very bright individual. He's not a smart individual. The only good thing about him is he visits community. He has come to the Yemeni community. He has come to mosque. But what he did the other day in Columbia College and Queenie College was unprecedented. He sent more than 1,000 police officers inside a university to get university students from protesting their First Amendment right to protest. Now, in order to stop those demonstrations, they needed a narrative. They needed to say, well, these demonstrations are being propped by international terrorism, and they're associated with bad people, and they hate the anti-Semites, they hate the Jews, they hate this, they hate that, and they won. They hijacked the students' message, the narrative, and turned it into an anti-Semitism movement, which is not. You cannot just think one day all these university students just got up one day and just started to hate Jewish people. I mean, it don't make no sense, but it is what it is. So in order to explain his orders for the police, 1,000 cops to go into university and maim students and beat up students, they needed a message even for that, and they fed him this. He's not that bright. He's not that bright of a guy. Okay, let's see what he says, and we'll stop it every time, okay? Let's go.
And good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
So this is the second time in 2 weeks that Columbia has called upon the NYPD to help clear out protesters on campus. Is sending the police in riot gear the best way to de-escalate what is already a tense situation?
Well, there were two operations tonight. One was with CUNY and one was with Columbia University. And once I became aware of the outside agitators who were part of this operation as...
Okay, listen to the word. Once I became aware of the outside agitators, that means there were people that were outside the university that were directing all this protest. You got to listen to these words. He's been fed this before he came on the show.
Columbia mentioned in their letter and their request with the New York City Police Department, it was clear we had to take appropriate actions. When our intelligence division identified those who were professionals, well-trained. One of them was married to someone that was arrested for terrorism. We knew these children were being exploited and they were in danger and would have been irresponsible not to reply to requests from Columbia University.
Mr. Mayor, when you say that the protests have been co-opted by professional outside agitators, how do you distinguish between those outside agitators and students who are just protesting peacefully? And who is this individual who is connected to a terrorist?
Well, and it's not singular, it's plural, several organizations and groups. I want to be clear on that. We did not take this action lightly.
So far, it's been a week. We haven't got not even one name of a person or an organization that was involved in the protest inside Columbus University. What we are living right now, we are living in scary times where politicians are allowed to do whatever they want to do to citizens and get on TV and tell a story and tell a lie without being challenged. If I was going to say, listen, it's been a week, can we get the names of these people? I mean, these people must be dangerous. We need to put these names out there so the other universities will be careful, you know? All these groups. This is all lies. This is all lies, ladies and gentlemen. This is all nothing but lies.
And once the Columbia University team and leadership in their letter acknowledging that outside agitators were on their campus grounds, we looked at our intel and information. I was briefed by the intelligence division, and they were able to identify organizations and individuals who were not students. But
you see, he needed cover for what he did. This is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. This is scary shit. This is happening in the United States of America. Look how many police officers he sent against these kids. These kids have no weapons. They're sleeping in tents. They were asking for food during the day. They said, you got to give us food to eat. So this outside agitators and groups and to create this allure of terrorism, he's being fed by the Israeli propaganda. And the worst propagandists are the fucking Jews these days in Israel. They're the dumbest motherfuckers. They call it Hasbro. They can't lie. Well, we saw a book here. It says Mein Kampf on it, and it's brand new. Oh, we saw this brochure telling and Hamas dead bodies, showing the maps of schools on a Saturday. There's no school, and Yom Kippur, there's 10 days without school in Israel. So this is the same lie. So the problem is, you know, sometimes I see a lot of stuff. I don't get, forget about my channel if I lose it or not. Not making no money is, I don't know how to articulate my conversation is, he's saying there are a lot of outside agitators. The outside agitators are the Zionists. These are people who are working in the IDF and who came in California, UCLA, and attacked the students. They attacked the students with fireworks. They attacked them with sticks, on bicycles. I mean, they did everything to them, and nobody said a word. Because we have a protected class in the United States. And you know why I call it a protected class now? Because it's by law, they are a protected class. Before the law, the Anti-Semitism Act, American Jews were white. their ethnicity or their religion or their faith was Jewish, but they were part of the idea of the big pie, the white America. But what they did is by putting that law, the anti-Semitism law or the anti-Semitic law, they told us that the American Jews are no longer white, but Semites or Semitic people. And they are a protected class like the LGBT community. So you cannot protest against the protected class. You understand? Because every demonstration that happened, it had nothing to do with Jewish Americans. It had nothing to do with anti-Semitism. It had nothing to do with hate. You understand? It was pressed on us through the corrupt media in the United States, right? Let's listen to this idiot finish first and we'll go.
But we're professional agitators.
Look at this, look.
And we realized after the breaking into Hamilton Hall, some of the tactics, some of the methods, these are clearly being used across the globe.
You know what the message was? They put some chair and they put it against the door so the police or nobody could come in. These were the methods. What methods did we use it in a fucking empty hall with chairs? That international organization. You are a liar. You are a piece of shit. You are under investigation for corruption, for taking money from Turkey. Now you think these motherfuckers going to save you. You understand? Don't lie. When you lie, you lose credibility. Every branch of our government is a fucking liars. The civilian government in Washington is corrupt as fuck. They lie every day on TV. They have no legitimacy, no credibility in the minds of the American people. Now this idiot, the New York City mayor, going to come on TV, said, why don't I try this? You are lying. What methods were these kids using inside an empty hall? I mean, those chairs against the chairs, the chairs that they put against the wall was done in a way that only people in an international organization know how to do it. Shame on you, Mr. Adam. Shame on you.
And we understood that how really dangerous this situation had become.
Okay, but Mr. Mayor, give us some information on who this individual or individuals who are connected to terrorism found themselves in police custody.
He doesn't know. There's nobody. Go ahead.
Which I'm guessing they are now in police custody.
Well, if you look at, you can find this information. They're proudly acknowledging themselves on social media platforms, and I'm going to.
So the people, the question was, can you name these people? Were they arrested? You say there was some dangerous characters inside the hall, so you must have arrested them. What are their names? Are they in jail? No, but they're going to identify themselves in media. So these bad actors is going to go on Facebook and Twitter and say, we were the people inside the hall. We were doing all those crazy shit. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, come on, man. Come on. We have minds, man. Why has America become so fucking dumbed down by these fucking idiots, man? What happened to our fucking political class?
To let the intelligence division do their job on what information should be released and what information should not be released. And when we do an analysis of all those who were arrested, a substantial number of them were not students of CUNY and were not students of Columbia University.
All right.
Mayor Adams, for those who are protesting peacefully, how do you respect and allow the right to free speech while protecting those involved in enforcing the law?
And I think that's so important to point out, because I was a protester as a child. I protested against the South.
He's a big liar. A week ago, before he did this, they asked him, what are you going to do about the students? He said, no, they're not doing anything. There's no violence. They are just doing their First Amendment right. This is before he was told, he got a phone call from Biden and the ADL and the APEC and every, from Netanyahu, yo, listen, you got to do something here. And he went and did it like they wanted him to do it.
South African apartheid movement. I protested when there were unfortunate interactions with young people who were shot by police officers. So I know how to protest and understand the power of protest. But we must make sure that that protest never turned into violence.
It's not violence.
When you saw the breaking into Hamilton Hall, that was clearly not protest.
Look how peaceful it is. The kids are inside these fucking tents. They're sleeping and reading and studying for their finals. There's no violence. Every time there's a violence, it has to do when the police show up. When the police shows up, then we see violence. And that violence is one way. The police are beating up the students like they did in UCLA, like they did in Texas. In California, they were shooting them with rubber bullets. Oh, fuck, I fucked it up. See, I do this all the time.
Information, they're proudly acknowledging themselves. And when we do an analysis of all those,
You respect and allow the right to.
so important to point out, because I was a protester as a child. I protested against the South African apartheid movement. I protested when there were unfortunate interactions with young people who were shot by police officers. So I know how to protest and understand the power of protest.
Oh, yes, you do.
We must make sure that that protest never turned into violence. And when you saw the breaking into Hamilton Hall, that was clearly not protesting your right to protest. That was committing a crime. And what we did as independent outside news journalists reported, we used a level of professionalism, and we made sure that a minimum amount of force was used to eradicate the problem that was taking place in CUNY and on Columbia's ground.
Mayor Adams, have you spoken to any of these students from both sides of this conversation? I'm wondering what they're telling you, but more importantly, how do you then have a larger conversation to make sure all students are safe?
And yes, I have communicated with many. It's unfortunate, and I just believe we as a country are making a big mistake. There's a desire to radicalize our children coming out of COVID.
So what? You're blaming on COVID? Holy shit.
Using social media and methods of really...
The students' demand is very simple: divest money from universities, don't invest in Israel or Israeli companies, and show where all the money is going. That's it. That's all their demand is. They're not trying to burn down the universities. You understand? They're asking to see the books, to see where all the money is going. You're charging $80,000 a year for each student, and they want you to divest that money. Don't invest in companies that makes weapons, and don't invest in Israel. Very simple, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. Like the way that they destroyed the apartheid in South Africa was through divestment. Once you lose money and economic, you lose a lot of you have a come to Jesus moment. Then you'll say, well, let's see.
Radicalizing our children. When you have only 18% of 18 to 30-year-olds really loving this country, that should be a wake-up signal for all of us. And I have had a series of meetings with students. We have been meeting with various faith-based groups. This is nothing new for me. My Breaking Bread, Building Bonds, over 1,000 dinners of people sitting down together to communicate.
I'm going to give him credit. He does come to community events. He has come. I'm a Yemeni American. You know, we're a small community in New York and Brooklyn and the Bronx, where I live. He has come to the masjid and he has sit with us. This year he had a Ramadan dinner. We didn't go. Nobody went because of his stance on what's going on in Palestine. That's it. But right now, everything he's saying right now, he's been spoon-fed to say it before he came on TV. This is what we're going to go with. These are the talking points. Have everybody say the same thing. They even did a promo video. The NYPD shamelessly did a promo video on how they handle these kids, the heroes.
We have to start understanding this diverse city. We must come together, and we can't use violence and calling for the destruction of a people like we are hearing with the anti-Semitism that we're seeing.
They haven't arrested one person. You know what I hate in the United States is that, we're going to get to that later.
So to that question, Mr. Mayor, the anti-Semitism, the rhetoric that we've seen, not just in New York, but across the country, what is the city doing to address that situation? And have you spoken to other mayors about that sharp rise in anti-Semitism?
Yes, and it's not only across the country. It has become a global movement, but it's more than.
So if you're anti-Israel, if you're saying that Israel is killing Palestinians and murdering innocent babies, does that designate you as an anti-Semite? Then I am an anti-Semite. If that is the situation there. If for me to condemn Israel for its mass murder and genocidal behavior inside Palestine, inside the Gaza Strip, if that is the criteria for being a global anti-Semite, then hey, register me, my friends. I want to register. But if anti-Semitism is the violence against an innocent ethnic minority such as the Jewish people for no reason, just for the sake of hatred, then we condemn that 100%. Nobody wants to hate nobody. No one wants to hate anybody. I mean, I live in New York City. I grew up with teachers who were all Jewish. Two teachers affected my life and influenced me a lot. Two Jewish teachers, a lady, Mrs. Gable, in third grade. She showed me how compassionate teachers are by helping me and things of that nature. Learn the English language. And in junior high school, Mr. Siegel, social studies, he taught me how to question information. Really, he taught me how to question information by government and companies and by the media. These people, there is no hatred. And sometimes I ask the question, you're telling me that anti-Semitism is on the rise. I say, okay, I believe you. You said it's horrendous. I said, okay, I believe you. Can I see the police report? Can I see the data? What is anti-Semitism? You understand? Weird.
Just the terms of hate, Islamophobia, attack on Sikh communities, going after LGBTQ plus communities. You are seeing a rise of hate in our country that we must push back on. And I have communicated with our other mayors. I was in Atlanta a few days ago.
There is no hate in America. I've been living in America all my life. All my life. Maybe only 5 years when I was a baby in Arabia. I had never had any issue. I've been called a name here and there, but it doesn't register as an Islamophobic behavior. It wasn't nothing dangerous. Some stupid guy said something. So what? I said a lot of shit about other people. We are safe. America is a safe country for all ethnicities, for all minorities. All this fucking hocus pocus bullshit is hyped up by the media to fucking scare people and to demonize the student. That's it. There is no hatred in America. I am proud to be an American. I am proud to be a minority in the United States. I love the United States. I feel safe in the United States. I earn my livings in the United States. I will defend the United States. I have not, maybe I live in New York City. Maybe it's different in other part of the country. I have family who live in Nashville, no problems. I have families who live in Memphis, Tennessee, no problems. I have families who live in Alabama, no problems. We are safe. Stop the lies. The media is the enemy of the people. Woo! I said it.
For the African Americans Mayors Association, we talked about this. I sat down with the mayor of Denver as well. We understand that this is going to impact cities, and we're coming together as mayors across the entire country and communicating with our mayors outside the country to talk about how do we safeguard our cities and don't allow this continuation of a global attempt to radicalize young people in these cities.
Mayor Eric Adams of New York City, we truly appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's just me. Is it just me? Oh, is it just... Yeah, getting bigger and bigger. I like this look. So you see, the situation here is all bullshit. There's no issues. Let me see if I could find the video. Let me show you how dumb these police officers are. Shows you how misleading they are. Let's hope I see it, Let's hope. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah. Nah. This is it.
Claims pro-peace protesters use industrial chains, which are in fact by...
Wait a minute. Let me show you how stupid things have gotten in the United States. how dumb things are. Okay, these are the weapons they found inside the university. These are, okay, listen what they say. Listen, please.
He claims pro-peace protesters use industrial chains, which are in fact bike locks.
Tell us about this chain.
Yeah, so when we walk into Hamilton Hall, this is not what students bring to school.
Full disclosure, we found out that Columbia University sell these to their students so their bikes won't be stolen. Thank you very much. This is how dumb the NYPD has become such a fucking stupid. They are losing their credibility in front of people like me who believe in law and order. When you come on TV and you put this guy, and had to be a black guy too, because you guys are victim of the NYPD, showing me the danger of these students. These are the weapons they had. Woo!
Okay, this is what professionals bring to campuses and universities. These are heavy industrial chains that were locked with bike locks, and this is what we encountered on every door inside of Hamilton Hall. And so in order for our emergency services group to enter into the building, they had to first cut through these chains, but also get rid of debris and barricaded doors that were barricaded with refrigerators, vending machines, chairs, you name it. They pushed it up against those doors to try and stop us from coming in. But our guys...
You're a fucking idiot. That's it. You and the mayor are stupid. And I feel sorry for the mayor, for him to be humiliated. All right, we are now going to go to our main event. All right.
To 1.5 million Palestinians, allies of...
All right, guys, I need your patience here. We have two videos here. First, we're going to watch the video of an Israeli spokesman. For the first time, Piers Morgan actually did his job. He had him tongue-tied. He couldn't even say one word. He could not even say how many Palestinians have been killed. Because you know why? Because they are under the international investigation, and they don't want to say the number from the mouth of an official. Go ahead.
Warns against it, fearing catastrophic civilian impact. But Israel says that Rafah is also the refuge for the remaining Hamas battalions. Last night, Hamas announced it would accept the terms of a ceasefire proposed by intermediaries, but Israel rejected it. And
by the way, you saw what happened. Israel was saying, "Oh, Hamas don't want to do. They don't want to release our hostages. They don't want." And you know what they did? Hamas got smart. He said, "Okay, we're gonna call you a fucking bluff. You've been in negotiation for 6 months. It's a lie. Israel has killed more hostages than Hamas by bombing everything over there." So they called their bluff and said, "Okay, we accept the offer." You know what Israel did? Said, "No, we didn't mean it. We didn't mean it." And they went to Rafah.
It seized Rafah's crossing with Egypt, a key entry point for vital humanitarian aid, and began attacking the east of the city. In a moment, I'll talk to Avi Martin and Mossad Hassan Youssef. But first, from Jerusalem is Israeli government spokesman Avi Hyman. Mr. Hyman, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Why did Israel reject this apparent offer of a peace deal from Hamas that they'd agreed to?
Hi, Piers. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm not sure what Israel has rejected. I know that Hamas put out a statement that they had accepted some kind of a proposal.
By the way, I never know that Israeli Middle Easterners have English accents. Good.
It's somewhat unclear to us what proposal they accepted. This was obviously, as my Prime Minister said in the last hour, a way of trying to torpedo our entry into Rafah. And as you said, the last 4 battalions of Hamas are in Rafah. Our war aims remain the same: to destroy Hamas, bring home the hostages, and ensure that Gaza doesn't pose a threat to us. As the Prime Minister said, with or without a deal, we're going to need to go into Rafah. So we entered Rafah. We're keeping the pressure up, the military pressure on Hamas. That's what worked last time when we got about half of the hostages released. And that's what we're doing now. We will keep up the pressure and explore all of the diplomatic channels. But at the moment, Hamas's position is far, far away from ours, sadly.
How many...
Don't you notice, even the British Jews, Hamas, even Ben Shapiro, who lived in Beverly, they don't, it's Hamas. You can say H, but they want to say the because they belong to the fraternity of
civilians in Rafah, of the 1.5 million people there. Is Israel prepared to view as collateral damage to eliminate the remaining Hamas terrorists?
Piers, as you know, the IDF does our absolute utmost to avoid civilian casualties. Just in the first day of the operation, we've taken 100,000 citizens, civilians from Rafah, out of Rafah.
Well, that
out
leaves
of arms.
1.4 million.
Okay, and it's a work in progress. So I can tell you that.
My question is that you're trying to eliminate Hamas completely, but in the process, already you've pretty much destroyed most of northern Gaza. You've already killed up to 40,000 people, depending on whether you accept the Hamas-run health authority numbers. Obviously, a number of those people are Hamas, and a large number are innocent civilians, women and children. And if you go into someone like Rafah, which has 1.5 million people who've been told to go there by Israel, who've been displaced from their homes, which have been destroyed in the main, and gone to this refugee camp, how many could die before Israel says we can't continue this operation?
Piers, we're fighting against Hamas, a genocidal terror organization. I've seen your coverage, your tremendous coverage of what Hamas did to us in October 7th.
So the whole idea is today, Piers Morgan probably didn't get paid or his check came late. He's actually being a journalist and he's asking them real question. To Piers Morgan, if you're watching this, I watch your show all the time. Not all the time, but sometimes stupid. Just ask real question. Just ask the Israelis or the Jewish state, the representative of the Jewish state called Israel, question, the same question you ask Arabs. That's it. Just give them a fair.
You and I know they want to do it again and again and again. That's their words, not mine. Now we'll do what we have to do to go after Hamas, to avoid civilian casualties, something that we have successfully done. Out of that Hamas number that you just gave, more than 14,000 are terrorists that we took out. There's more than 25,000 Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists taken off the
How many
back.
civilians do you believe you've killed?
We don't have exact figures, as you know, it's the fog of war.
But you've got exact numbers for
run
Hamas
to
terrorists
media.
you've killed. Why wouldn't you know how many civilians you've killed?
Because obviously our focus is to go.
I'm gonna tell you why. He does not want to admit it on TV, on national television, because the whole idea is we don't know who's dying. I mean, we're killing. We don't know anything about civilians. But according to the United States government, forget about anybody else. According to the Secretary of Defense Austin, he said there's 25,000 men and children. I mean, sorry, not men. Women and children have been killed, 25,000. And this motherfucker doesn't know the number.
Go after the Hamas terrorists. And
hang on, I mean, that does imply that you're putting a bigger premium on killing Hamas terrorists in terms of numbers and accountability than you are on innocent civilians. That can't be right, surely. If you know exactly how many Hamas terrorists you've killed, you must know how many civilians you've killed. Otherwise, you're prioritizing the lives of terrorists over innocent people.
Piers, with respect, don't put words into my mouth, please. I didn't say exactly 14,000. I said around 14,000. Whereas Hamas will come out with precise numbers that statisticians will look at.
Give me a ballpark number for civilians.
Well, you can use the ballpark as far as the Hamas figures, which I reject as being false.
Well, if they're false, why would you give me those?
I gave you the numbers that I had.
No, you've told me you know how many Hamas terrorists you've killed, but you don't seem to have any idea how many civilians you've killed. I'm just bemused. Why wouldn't you keep count of both?
I don't have that information to give you, Piers. If I did, I would.
You literally no idea how many civilians you've been killing.
I can tell you definitively that our aim is to go after Hamas.
No,
We've done it successfully.
I'm sorry to push you on this. That's quite extraordinary. You're an official spokesman for the Israeli government, and you have no idea how many civilians you've killed. I thought you just told me that you were particularly careful about not killing civilians. But if you don't know how many you've killed, how can you say that with any certainty?
Because even if you were to go by a ratio of the Hamas figures, we would still be far ahead of any Western army.
That wasn't my question. You know it wasn't my question.
I don't.
So the problem here we have, the Jewish spokesman here for the Jewish state is he's saying that Hamas lies about the people that they say they've been killed. Okay, how many people have you killed? Well, you could use their numbers. Well, if you don't believe them, we don't want to use them. We want to use your numbers. Can you give us an estimate? He's like, no. The whole idea is here, ladies and gentlemen, is they are indifferent to the civilian population. They know what they're doing. They are not after just Hamas. Then Hamas is underground. They're probably not even after them, really. They are deliberately punishing the civilian population as a way, don't ever do this again. But the whole idea, they have went overboard. Imagine 80% of this 350 square mile area has been decimated. Universities, colleges, schools, churches, mosques, everything has been destroyed. This is like the fucking people. These are the planet of the apes, man. They have destroyed everything in Gaza. Unbelievable. Just such viciousness. And in New York City, they complain about students protesting because brown people, I guess, don't count. Or people who are native to that land are not, these are the native Indians, but these they just refuse to die. These Palestinians, they just refuse to die. We've been killing them for 76 years. We've been burning their villages, but these Palestinians don't want to die like the indigenous people in Australia and all the native Indians in America. So Hamas and these people, we're not going to say their name because in our mind they don't exist. You understand here, Piers? So we know we killed 13,000 Hamas, but we don't know how many human beings we killed. Damn, that's a good fucking Israeli accent, man. I should be on TV.
You have no idea how many civilians you've killed.
It's not that I don't know. I'm not authorized to give the information. I don't have the information.
Thank you. It's not that I don't know, but I'm here. I cannot give you any fucking English accent pretending he's from the Middle East.
That's complete nonsense. Why are you authorized to give me the number of terrorists you've killed, not the number of civilians?
Piers, take it easy on him, Piers. Piers.
Can you explain?
Piers, we will.
You saw that fucking silence? He's fired. He is not going to ever show up again. Because what the Israeli propaganda, they've been doing this like 50 years is, I know that when I was a kid, when I used to watch TV, Netanyahu used to be the spokesperson because he was young, he lived in the United States, he has an American accent. So they are smart. They bring people who speak like fluent English, like American English or British English, so they have a connection with the viewer. And I used to watch where the Palestinian would bring us these big mustache, the Arabic accent. They had Hanan Ashrawi. She was beautiful, man. She was a woman. She was, she was a Christian. And she's a Palestinian, and they never had her on. The best weapon they ever had, Yasser Arafat never used it.
We'll go after Hamas. We will ensure that we...
you want me to believe you're being incredibly careful about how many civilians you're killing, and you have an amazing exemplary record, but you don't know how many civilians you're killing. So how do I know you've been careful?
Piers, when the dust settles, we will come out with the proper numbers. Hamas runs to the press daily with false...
When the dust settles, a lot of people will have died, and you know how many Hamas you've killed, but you don't.
I can't believe it. Piers is asking the question that I love him for asking. Just ask everybody like that and we'll be fine with it. Don't every time a Muslim comes to your show, do you condemn October 7th? Do you condemn, Do you condemn? Every single... relax. Relax. I'm not the Palestinian government. You condemn it. Do you condemn the IDF? No, I don't condemn them. Oh, okay.
I don't know how many civilians you killed. And I'm just asking you why. Why is it you've kept a record of one, but not the other?
I personally don't have that information to give to you. You can ask me over and over. I'm not going to come up with more information. I don't personally.
You don't know?
I don't have that information.
You're an official government spokesman for the Israeli government, and you have no idea.
He's fired. He's so fired. Unbelievable. He's fired.
Piers, I came on here to focus on what's going on with the world.
Could you lie? To answer my questions, I think.
Yeah, and I don't have.
These are the Israelis right now. Could you lie? How was the accent? Well, we put you on TV, and you cannot lie. You cannot lie. You could have lied. You could have lie. The American people eat it right from my hand. Could you even lie, you idiot? We put you on TV, and you cannot lie. I just fucked up the accent.
I have an answer for you for that.
And I didn't intend to press you on this point because I assumed that you would not respond the way you have. But I've never had an Israeli spokesman who simply said, I have no idea.
He's fired.
Particularly after you boasted about the fact that you've been very smart in the way you've avoided killing civilians. How do you know if you've got no idea how many you've killed?
Because I know the way in which the IDF operates. I know the way in which we go after the terrorists in the best possible way. It's not what I've said, it's what General Petraeus has said. It's what John Spencer from West Point has said. It's what multiple British generals have said. Israel goes out of its way to avoid civilian casualties. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
If you can point to me to another conflict by which they have evacuated, got out of harm's way civilians to the extent that Israel has done, then fine.
With respect, Mr. Hyman, how can you possibly expect me to accept any comparisons to any other conflict or war, given that you do not know how many civilians you've killed?
Piers, you understand that I can't prosecute the war over the media.
I'm just asking you for basic information. I'm not trying to trap you, and I'm not trying to unfairly harangue you. I think people are watching this and they'll make their own conclusions. I just find it astonishing that the moment I asked you how many Hamas you killed, you could tell me immediately.
Right away.
And the moment I ask you about civilians, you haven't got a clue, literally.
Can't do it.
You're not even prepared to issue a ballpark number.
Not going to tell you.
I think people will find that staggering, particularly given that you are insistent that you're doing everything you can to avoid killing civilians. To which, again, I just simply ask, how do you know? If you don't know how many you're killing, how can you possibly be sure that you are, A, doing better than others?
I'm willing to bet you that Piers Morgan's got a fucking phone call. What are you doing, Piers, huh? What are you doing, boy? What you doing, Piers? You fucking shit up, huh? You asking real questions? Huh? You're not supposed to ask this question like that. Okay? All right? Make it up, Jamada. Bring a Muslim and humiliate him in front of us, okay?
Other people waging war elsewhere, or B, that you have any idea how many you're killing. You don't, clearly.
The IDF monitors every single action that it takes. It weighs out the options.
It doesn't tell you, the official spokesman.
It avoids civilian casualties in the best possible way.
How do you know, Mr. Hyman?
Even if you were to take, please, if you're allowed...
with respect, you come on here as the official Israeli government spokesman, and you don't want to be asked how many you've killed because you don't know. And yet you want us to draw comparisons to other conflicts in a positive way for Israel. And you want to tell me that IDF make a record of every single thing they're involved in, but they don't give it to you, the government spokesman. So that when I ask you, you have no idea. Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds? With respect.
With all due respect, I've told you that even if you were to use the Hamas figures, the ratio would still be better than any other army, and that's where the comparison can be done. However, we know above and beyond that the Hamas figures are not accurate, and we know from former conflicts that Hamas...
Okay, they're not accurate. Tell us what your number is. You said you go, you know how many, how Hamas you killed. Hamas, how many you killed? These are fucking thugs. These are murders. These are butchers, man.
Throws in anyone that's, someone could have passed away from a heart attack. Someone could have.
So why is it that Israel actually, after previous,
that's what they've done in the past.
Well, why is it after previous death tolls have been released by Hamas through the Palestinian Health Authority, they've actually turned out to be ones that Israel has concurred with in the main?
Yeah. Thank you.
Can you not count either?
Piers, we're in the fog of war. We're fighting for our very existence.
No, you're not foggy when it comes to killing terrorists. You're only foggy, it seems to me, when it comes to killing civilians.
We're fighting against a terrorist organization that spent the last 16 years embedding itself underneath and within a civilian population. They're fighting from mosques, from hospitals, from UN facilities. I don't know if there's a comparison of any war in modern history in which a terrorist organization has embedded itself the way that Hamas has in Gaza. We are doing our very utmost to go after Hamas. And like I said, when the dust settles, you will see that.
Okay. Avi Hyman, the Israeli government spokesman, thank you very much. Well, I'm joined now by the pro-Palestine journalist and commentator.
All right, I got to go to the bathroom, guys. I'll be right back, okay? I'll be right back. Don't go no place. Please don't leave me. I'm going to put a new song for you by Mekala, whatever his name is. It's a nice song. right, we're back. Woo! I hope people still here had to go to the bathroom, man. All right, our next segment is Piers Morgan. Woo! You like that? You like that rap song? That was a beautiful song. Okay, our next segment before we go is a little longer. It's Abby Martin and Mossab. Mossab is a young Palestinian. Let me put the picture so you can see them.
Commentator Abby Martin, and by Mossab Hassan Youssef, the son of Hamas's founder and former leader.
All right, this is Abby Martin, the lady. She's a pro-Palestinian journalist. She's been working her whole life. She went one time to West Bank and she got affected. And she has a channel called the Empire or something. Her name is Abby Martin. She's very good. And the other guy is Palestinian. He's actually the son of one of Hamas founders. But when he was 17 years old, he went to jail in an Israeli prison, and they broke him there. The Israeli intelligence, they broke him and they used him as an informant. He used to inform on his father, everybody. He put a lot of people in jail, this motherfucker. But you can see he's all look how evil he looks. You could tell he's not normal. So he's been on a lot of medication. He's medicated. Oh, they broke him, man. You know, they broke him to pieces and they just threw him, you see? Now, you're going to see how bad he's going to advocate for the Israeli state.
Author of a new book, From Hamas to America. Welcome back to both of you. Abby Martin, I found that, I've got to say, a quite extraordinary interview. To be an official government spokesman and admit you have no idea how many civilians you've killed whilst trying to simultaneously compare yourself favorably to other civilian death ratios in war seemed to me staggering.
Indeed. I mean, especially since we have seen the comparison as the dust has been settling real time on our phones. We see Israel has committed, in fact, some of the most heinous war crimes in modern history, Piers. And as we're seeing the invasion now of Rafah, cutting off the last vestige of escape for Palestinians, the last vestige of aid delivery, 1.3 million Palestinians, including 600,000 children, with nowhere left to go. This is what Palestinians were told was a safe corridor. That is why they all fled to Rafah. Rafah has been bombarded for the last several weeks, killing dozens of people every day. I think at this point, 6 months into a genocide, to be deliberating whether or not Israel should continue with this onslaught, this military operation that will result in mass slaughter to continue their ethnic cleansing of Gaza is frankly absurd, patently so, considering what we've seen them do just in the last several weeks, Piers. Evidence of summary executions of doctors, evidence of mass graves, hundreds of bodies bound, dozens of men, women, and children bound, evidence, according to the UN, of Palestinians buried alive, using drones to lure out Palestinians with sounds of crying children so they could be shot and killed. I mean, this is unparalleled in modern history, actually. And the devastation that's occurred in the Gaza Strip, according to the UN, will take 80 years to rebuild without conditions. So at this point, Israel needs to be stopped before they continue this horrific onslaught, Piers.
Mossab, I'll get you to respond to what Abby just said, but just your response to that interview with an Israeli government spokesman, because I got to say, I found that pretty stunning that he would be so certain how many Hamas terrorists the IDF have killed, but admit he had no idea how many civilians have been killed, given that it's the deaths of
Listen to this crazy motherfucker.
That is getting Israel
what you saying
so much a popular
I hate me. I hate Arabs. There we go.
Because we cannot send the Israelis to Rafah and to dangerous zones to collect statistics and count the numbers. It's a very dangerous zone. Israel is looking from the outside. And also, who said that Israel is only responsible for the killing of Gazans? Mostly Hamas responsible. First of all, for taking human shields. Second, their booby traps. How could you differentiate the death that it was caused by an airstrike or by a Hamas death trap? All
right, let's say 80% of the building have been decimated and these people living inside them. I don't think that was a trap. Go ahead.
How do we know the difference?
Well, yeah, but the
war,
point I would make,
people
though,
die. Listen to me. All this moral, Piers. No, listen to me. All this dilemma, you know, you're going with your whatever morality. This is war. In war, people die. You need to wake up to this reality, accept it. Stop this denial. We are in the face of savages who hijacked an entire society. This is a very difficult war. No other army can do the job, and I'm not willing to risk thousands of lives of foot soldiers to deal with this type of savages who hijacked the entire.
He's not willing to risk. He's not Jewish, and he's not an Israeli, and he's in California, and he's an Arab Palestinian, and he said, "I'm not willing. I am me not willing to send soldiers," as if he is one of them. This guy is so broken, so drugged. You look at his lips. You see this lips? See how they droop? This is from medication. When you take antidepressant or psychotic medications, you know, I've been around that. I was in a nursing home when I was sick, and when you see somebody's lips droop like this, that means he's on some kind of strong medication. He is very, very medicated, and he's hyper with the medication. They probably, before the show, they changed the dose from downers to uppers, you know, to get them all excited. But you can see the lips. Once that lips fall, that's from antidepressant medication. And not a doctor here, just think.
Society, 100,000 people could have died. Israel is doing everything they could. Don't reduce it to the point. Do you have statistics? Who cares?
Well, actually,
Egypt,
no, I think you're missing my point.
Authority,
yeah, Mossad.
Jordan,
all right.
The Arab world don't want Hamas at whatever cost.
Mossad.
Whatever it costs, we want to remove Hamas from power.
Okay, I understand that. That's a different question. My point is why...
Do you?
Well, why does it... My question is this for you. Why is it that, if, as you say, Israel has no way of working out who's being killed here, and I know all about war. My brother served in wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. My brother-in-law served in wars. My grandfather served in wars. My uncle served in wars. I don't need a lecture about what warfare is, but I do find it surprising that Israel's official spokesman, months and months into this war, is able to tell me immediately how many Hamas terrorists have been killed by Israeli forces, but admits he hasn't got a clue how many civilians have been killed. And I'm sorry, I think most viewers will find that stunning. You say Israel's no way of checking, but they seem to have a way of checking how many Hamas they're killing, Mossad.
Listen, it's Israel's responsibility to know the death of their own citizens. This is their responsibility. I think your question was absurd. This is why you put him on the spot.
Absurd.
He was not prepared for it. But this is not the reality on the ground. The reality on the ground, Hamas must go. The only side want Hamas to stay is the Iranian Ayatollah, and for some stupid reason, Karen in America wants Hamas to stay. But the Arab world, let me tell you something, Jordan...
He just called her Karen. Holy shit. This guy is well-versed in Karen. Holy MTF. He called her Karen. How many medication did you take this morning? Oh! No.
Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the majority of the Arab world. We are Arabs. I am Arab. We are not Palestinians.
He got you.
We don't want Hamas. We don't want Islam. We want Islamists out.
You know, he converted to Christianity, right? He don't want Islam. He don't want Arabs.
Of power.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
All right.
They have been killing Jewish and Arab children.
Right.
This is not your game. This is not her game. It's not about statistics.
It's not a game.
It's about doing the correct thing of removing Hamas from power.
Mossad,
end of the story.
Let me interrupt, because you quoted Saudi Arabia in your rant there. So let me read you a statement from the Saudi Foreign Ministry.
All right.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs expresses the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's warning of the dangers of the Israeli occupation forces targeting the city of Rafah as part of its systematic bloody campaign to storm all areas of Gaza Strip and displace its residents towards the unknown in light of a lack of safe zones after the massive destruction caused by the Israeli war machine. The ministry affirms the kingdom's categorical rejection of the occupation forces' continued blatant violations of international resolutions, calling for the cessation of these massacres and their violation of international law and international humanitarian law without deterrence, which exacerbates the humanitarian crisis and limits international peace efforts. The ministry renewed the kingdom's demand for the international community to intervene immediately to stop the genocide carried out by occupation forces against defenseless civilians in the occupied Palestinian territories. So when you say all Arabs agree with you, Mossad, actually they don't. That is the Saudi Foreign Ministry saying they want it to stop right now.
As we speak, the intelligence services of the Arab world, all of them, in a joint operation room with Israel to rid of Hamas. I don't care about some politician trying to make a political...
I'm going to tell you, I agree with him on that the Arab countries are actually working hand in hand with Israel under the guise or under the facade of destroying Hamas. But the Arab countries are actually destroying the Palestinian people as an entity and destroying Palestine from everything that it is. These Arab countries will regret the day that they got rid of Gaza. Because after Gaza, the religious Jews will claim Sinai. This is in their Bible, in the Torah, the Jewish Bible. They will claim that, and I guarantee you, they will kick out the Palestinians in the West Bank and send them to Jordan. Jordan will no longer be a Jordanian state. It will be a Palestinian state. It has right now the majorities are Palestinians, and if you bring another 2-3 million, it's over for the kingdom. So these people are playing with fire. They are working against their own interests. Arab countries work against their own interests. That's what they do. They've been doing that since colonial era.
Statement. It's false. The reality on the ground, we don't want Hamas, we don't want Islamists, we don't want this anarchy, this revolution without a moral compass. We don't want to globalize it. We don't want to bring it to the United States. The game is over. Hamas is out and their death warranty has been issued. It's a finished job.
All right,
and we are going into Rafah and we are going to eliminate every last one of them.
Let me bring in Abby. Abby, you've been listening to this. I mean, fundamentally, I understand why Israel and Israelis want to eliminate Hamas completely, because this is a terror group who are wedded to the eradication of Israel and everybody in it. In fact, they have reiterated publicly through their official spokesman a desire to commit as many October the 7th as they can. So I completely understand why Israel wants to get rid of these terrorists. The question is, how do they do that without killing many, many more civilians? And as we saw from the Saudi statement, there are many Arab countries now in the region increasingly concerned that if there is a full attack on Rafah, which has 1.5 million people, a lot of civilians are going to die.
Right, and you know, to your point before, I think the death toll is actually vastly undercounted, considering how we have not even began to excavate the bodies under the rubble. So I would say that the death toll is a vast undercount. As far as Mossab's point about Hamas, I think that, you know, Mossab is the Palestinian who hates Palestinians. He's developed a lucrative career being able to lie about basic facts about this conflict. And so when he says Palestinians or Hamas, what he really means is all Arabs and all Muslims. In fact, I've seen that plain as day in his social media and talks. He thinks that all Muslims are terrorists. And so, I mean, this is credited to the point that he is actually credited to jailing what is called the Mandela, the Palestinian Mandela. Marwan Barghouti. This is a guy who he put in prison 20 years ago, who was marching side by side with Israeli peace activists denouncing Hamas killing civilians. So again, I mean, when we're looking at someone who's worked for Israeli intelligence, who spouts the same rhetoric as Israelis, who say Hamas, but what they really mean is all Palestinians, I mean, it's really hard to debate someone on the fundamental reality and the principles of, you know, the facts of this conflict. Now, to your point, Piers, about what should they do about Hamas, I reject the premise of Israel's genocide. I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, Hamas is a terrorist organization and they need to be eradicated. Of course, that's not true. And I think that we can both agree.
What do you mean that's not
it's
true?
An impossible task. It's not true that something needs to be done about Hamas. I don't agree with that framework and the parameters of that debate.
Why?
Because Israel's been committing ethnic cleansing and genocidal policies against the Palestinians for 70
But Hamas literally has a charter. Yeah, but Abby, hang on. Hamas literally has a stated charter of the elimination of Israel. That is the purest personification of a publicly stated policy of genocide
that's not
I can
true,
imagine.
That's not true. Their revised charter says that they actually recognize the existence of the Israeli state among 1967 borders. That's the revised charter, and they actually make a political differentiation between Zionism and Judaism.
So
that's
when
the
their
actual
official
charter of
spokesman,
Hamas.
so
So
when
you keep
Hamas
pointing
is,
to us, you keep pointing to a random spokesperson. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not a random. He's the official spokesman for Hamas, and he said literally 2 weeks after October the 7th, we are going to do this again and again and again. That is an existential genocidal threat to the existence of everyone in Israel. Clearly, said publicly on camera. He's brazen about it.
Look, I think that when you're comparing one guy and his statement to literally dozens of genocidal statements. Okay, but look at the official spokespeople of Israel, Piers, and look at the actual genocide they're committing. You cannot compare the two. It's a complete false equivalency. One guy is saying one thing, the other dozens of Israeli ministers and cabinet officials and public media personas on TV are saying one thing and actually doing it on the ground.
You would allow Hamas to stay in power?
On the ground. It's not up to me, Piers. Hamas is representative of a large.
You've been expressing many
opinions.
But here's the thing. What's your opinion?
Marwan Barghouti is the most popular unifying figure in Palestinian society. He would resoundingly win in an election against Hamas. So what this is about, this isn't about Hamas. This is about eliminating every faction of Palestinian resistance, peaceful or not. It is not about Hamas.
It's all about what Hamas did on October the 7th.
But Piers, I think we both know it's not. Because what is the military occupation founded upon? When did Hamas come into power? We know that this isn't just about Hamas. What was Israel doing in the West Bank the year prior to October 7th? They killed 500 Palestinians, 80 children. This is ethnic cleansing. This is a military occupation. As long as you have these policies in place, you will never get to the root of the violence, Piers.
All right, Mossab, there was an allegation there that you think all Muslims are terrorists. What's your response to what Abby Martin said?
Well, this is Abi's desperate attempt to discredit me. I'm a man of the field. I fought against...
Discredit him. The fucking guy is a maniac. Look how he looks. Look at his eyes. I will take his picture and keep it in my room, and every time my baby son gets up in the middle of the night and cry, he'll see his face and go back right to sleep. I'll put it right on the wall before he goes to sleep.
Hamas as part of legitimate intelligence organization against savage group that were targeting.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest here. Hamas, according to international law, is not a terrorist organization. The only people who describe it as such is the United States and its allies in Western Europe and Israel. And they always, when they don't like somebody or they don't like any individual, they put the ANC was considered a terrorist organization. Mandela of South Africa was on the list of a terrorist as a terrorist, and he was in jail, and they had him. You know, they took his name out in 2008. So it doesn't mean what we say as American is it is. The reason we say that is because these people don't agree with our way or our thinking. Oh, they are standing in the way of our interests. So if we don't like what they're doing, they're terrorists. To them, we're terrorists because we're bombing Yemen, we're bombing Iraq, we bombed Afghanistan. Who's a bigger terrorist than us, the United States? We declared a war on Iraq, killed 1.5 million people so far. And why? Weapons of mass destruction. Because the oil. We went to Afghanistan, 20 years of frivolous war, killing men, women, and children, and American soldiers, lost $6 trillion, only to give the country back to the Taliban. We are the biggest fuck-ups in the world. So Hamas is actually a resistant movement according to international law, because in order to be a terrorist you have to work outside Gaza. Let's say if Hamas was bombing in London or bombing in Egypt, or bombing in Lebanon, that's a terrorist organization because you're terrorizing other country and other entities. Hamas' issue is with the Israeli army. They want their liberation. Their main concern, they want to liberate their country from the occupation. That's it. Very simple, ladies. And don't believe the hype.
Civilians in suicide bombing attacks, waves of suicide bombing attacks that they kill people indiscriminately. So Abiy today want me for some reason to apologize for saving human life because my truth challenges her convenient truth. Abiy does not have the authority. She's just a self-appointed low-grade journalist. How can you be a journalist and you call this a genocide, ethnic cleansing? And she just keep repeating ethnic cleansing, genocide, colonialism, etc. None of it is real, including Palestine. It's only in your head.
Oh, okay.
None of it is existential. Palestine was never born. How can you free it? It was never there. It's just a colonial entity, and some people choose to make it into a national identity. And this parrot has been just repeating Hamas propaganda. Marwan Barghouti that she's talking about him, she never met him. I knew Marwan before he got to power. He's a criminal. He killed 5 people. He
had another wife
on his hands. He cheated on his wife. He has a secret son that he never revealed it to the public. Of course, I can criticize him, and I can criticize all the criminals that I know personally. She's been there only for a visit, and maybe she had some falafel sandwich, you know, and she really was blown away of the Palestinian experience.
This guy's a comedian. Falafel, he called that Karen, a low-grade journalist. Take your medication.
There's no such a thing as Palestine. It's about time to retire, find a different job. You're not a journalist. You don't qualify even to be a mother.
Wow.
Okay, he's going to say there's no such thing as Palestine. The word Palestine came to use in that region in 484. That's 500 years before Jesus came as a prophet to the Jews. You understand? So for him to say that, he's a fucking idiot. Go look it up, Google it, whatever you want to do. Even before the 4th century, BC, not AD, before Christ, the word Palestine was a map. There was a people called Palestinians and Palestine between Lebanon and Egypt. Okay? Thank you.
Abiy.
Masab, you know, it's usually a public figure. If they were caught lying about half the things that they said, they would be completely discredited and never allowed airtime. You are spewing such ahistorical anti-Arab bigotry that not even the fringe of Israeli society would agree with you. I mean, not even Israeli historians, the great sir.
I'm not.
And see, now she's defending the Muslims and the Arabs, where she's not. She's an American. And the ex-Muslim and ex-Arab he's saying, no, he's not. This is the crazy shit, man. Only in America. Sorry.
Anti-Arab. I am Arab. I am Arab. This is my ethnicity.
You are not
anti-Muslim bigotry.
You are not a fucking you are not a fucking Arab, you filthy animal. You're a traitor.
Not a Muslim.
Mazhab.
We are Arabs.
Mazhab. Okay. Then anti-Muslim bigotry, which is frankly appalling, considering that there's a billion people on the planet who would be characterized as you as, you know, extremists who need to be used force against, according to you. But Masab, not even Israeli historians would agree with the fact that you claim that there's no military occupation in the West Bank, that there's no apartheid state. Israelis at least admit, yes, those things exist, but here's why they're necessary and justified. They don't even agree with you. You're so fringe that I don't even know where you're coming from. I mean, so again, if we can't even agree with the basic facts of the conflict and the reality in front of our eyes, I don't know how we can really even discuss this.
Yeah, because you don't qualify.
Oh.
Well, I think the belittling her credentials. Listen, well, everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Pierce, best case scenario, if there is an occupation, it's between Israel and Jordan, or it's between Israel and Egypt.
Okay,
because it was not an occupation of a country.
Listen to what he's saying. Wait. This is how fucking fucked up his brain is. Good.
Country called Palestine. There was never Palestine in history. This is not an
Go to Google or go to GPT chat and say, when was the first word Palestine was on the map in Palestine or whatever it is now, the Jewish state? You understand? And he will tell you around 400, 500 BC, before Christ. Okay? That's 500 years before Jesus. It's too cold in here, right? Got cold a little bit, right?
Third statement, it's reality. Palestine never existed. It was not a country. It was not a nation. It's not an ethnic group. We are Arabs. We are the Arabs of Judea and Samaria. And when I was born, like millions of Palestinians, we had Jordanian birth certificate. The people of Gaza were Egyptian with Egyptian birth certificate. There was no Palestine. Yasser Arafat created this entity.
Matter of fact, Israel was founded in 1948. This fucking idiot doesn't know that. With the mandate, the United Nations mandate.
And everybody believed him. And this lie must die. This is why I don't like what Abby and her likes doing by trying to delegitimize Israel. She's trying to discredit me. Who gave you the authority?
You are a spy.
Region,
You're a spy for Israeli
conflict.
intelligence, Massab.
It is not funny. It's not funny. Your tale, your false narrative need to stop because you are creating chaos. Listen, Abby, you are bringing chaos to the United States and you will be held accountable.
Oh my God!
You are...
Fucking guy is a dictator. Holy shit. We should give him a country in the Middle East. He talks just... This is Hitler 101. What the hell is wrong with you, boy?
Just a criminal like them.
Sure. Okay, Massab, you can't be taken seriously and you're not legitimate because you are literally, you have worked for Israeli intelligence to out your own people. But listen, okay, but Massab, you can't discredit my reality as well. You can't discredit my reality as well. I was in the West Bank. I had assault rifles pointed at my head from a 17-year-old American from Palo Alto. That's an occupation.
You are in my domain right now.
That's a military occupation.
Okay, you are in my domain. When you come to my domain, you have to pay respect. You have to respect all the effort that I put to save human lives, and you cannot reduce that into some propaganda because
why on earth would I respect you for putting the leader of Fatah, Massab? You put the most unifying, popular Palestinian figure. You are credited to putting him in prison. This is someone who would win an election against Hamas. He is a peace activist. He was fighting for a two-state solution. This isn't about Hamas, and you know it. This is about you shutting down, tamping down on all factions of Palestinian society. And let's be clear, what is Palestine supposed to do? What are Palestinians supposed to do when in 2018, thousands of Palestinians in Gaza marched peacefully to this fortified perimeter fence that Israeli snipers have authorized themselves to shoot to kill? And that's exactly what they did. They massacred over 200 peaceful demonstrators, medics, press, journalists, clearly marked press, disabled people in wheelchairs, and children. These are all violations of international law and the Geneva Convention. Israeli snipers perched up behind sand dunes picked people off one by one in a methodical slaughter over the course of several months. That's when Palestinians tried to peacefully protest. So I think the question should be, what should Palestinians do? Because they're not even allowed to advocate for their legal rights. They're not even allowed to raise up a Palestinian flag. I visited a place called Sebastia in the occupied West Bank, and Palestinians were shot and in the hospital for simply erecting a Palestinian flag on a hilltop several days prior. This is the brutal reality of military occupation in the West Bank, Massab. I mean, I want the violence to end. I empathize with the victims of both sides of this. And that's why I want to get to the root of the conflict. Yes, I don't go out there and say Jews can't be trusted like you say about Muslims. I empathize with all civilian life. I believe and cherish the sanctity of human life. And that's why I want to get to the root of why violence occurs, Massab. And
let me ask Massab a question.
Holy shit.
Do you agree with the principle that Palestinians should be entitled to exactly the same human rights as Israelis?
He has to think.
Listen, the suffering of the Arabians, again, stop calling them Palestinians. They are not Palestinians. We are Arabs. We are the Arabs of Judea and Samaria. And Israel...
This is Judea and Samaria. That's what religious Messianic Jews use for the West Bank. This motherfucker is brainwashed. He is so broken and hurt by the Israeli intelligence services. He has denied his nationality and his ethnicity. Yes, nobody's denying you're an Arab, but you're an Arab who happens to live in a region called Palestine. So they call you Palestinians, like in the United States. Oh, this guy is a Californian. You understand? So I'm from Yemen, but I'm an Arab. I'm proud, and I see that all Arabs as my brothers and sisters. But I am a Yemenite because I'm describing the region I'm from. This is my address. And if you look at the word Palestine, is there before even the Arabs are there. It's 500 BC. Most Palestinians are converts from Judaism. They were Jews during Jesus' time. They converted to Christianity and later on converted to Islam. If you took a DNA of a Christian Arab in Palestine, he'll be there since the time of Jesus. So these are people who lived in that region who called Palestine. They are converts to Islam and to Christianity. That's it. Netanyahu has no business being there. No ethno-European white colonial piece of shit has any right to be in Palestine. The only rights are the Arab Jews. The Arab Jews have every right to be in Palestine. Anybody who was born in Arabia or in Iran or Turkey or in that region or Morocco or North Africa has who are born, any Jewish who was born in this area has every right to be in Palestine. We don't deny them that right. They are our fellow citizen, whether they were Yemenite or Egyptian or Baghdad. In 1940, in 1950, 40% of Baghdad, the capital of Iraq, they were Jews, intellectual Jews, writers, musicians, physicians, doctors, scientists. And the Mossad bombed every place in Iraq, so to scare them, and they took them away to Israel. Good.
And the Jewish people have
Palestinians
no
call themselves
since the beginning of their state. Well, you gave them that name. You forced the international community and the rest of the world.
All right, well, let me rephrase the question.
Should
the people who live in Gaza and on the West Bank, should they be entitled to the same human rights as Israelis?
Here we go.
If they have equal responsibility as the decent citizens of the state of Israel, that includes Arabs, Jews, Christians, and all other citizens of the state of Israel, then yes, they have equal rights. But if they are not taking their responsibility, if they are using violence, sending suicide bombers, and killing babies, kidnapping a 1-year-old, how do you answer to the mother?
So he's upset they kidnapped the 1-year-old Jewish baby, but he's not upset that 17,000 of his brethren, what you want to call them, Arabs or Palestinians, whatever, have been killed, and the average age is 5 years old from those murdered. You see this problem with I don't know why they have them. It's a shame they have him on TV. Not because he's saying what he's saying. I don't care. I mean, whatever he's saying is not even credible by the way he looks. He looks scary with those fucking eyes. Who's going to take him seriously? This is the problem they have. Anyway, let him finish, man. I'm getting tired. How long I've been on? I've been on for an hour. I've been on for an hour and 30 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you one thing. I get nothing, no money from YouTube. I swear to God. All right, you have people who are, I don't know. Whoever is watching this channel, please press a like. Thank you.
And to the mothers of the hostages and all those who got killed on October 7, it's very easy to just try to delegitimize Israel. They need good education. And if they are able to integrate, then naturally could be a political entity based on their needs. But right now, when she say Palestine, who is? Islamic Jihad, Fatah, Marwan Barghouthi, Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas, Public Front.
Shut the fuck up. I'm tired of listening to your fucking face all day. All right, guys, I'm going to go. Whoa, I appreciate everyone. I had a lot of stuff. I was supposed to talk about Brianna Wu, the fucking... she's a grifter who's... Well, the progressive is no longer progressive. Democrats are not... Then she got the APAC. Fucking animal. Anyway, I love you all. I don't know, man. I see 44 people watching. I don't know where you guys are from because I don't see you on YouTube. But anyway, I love you all. Did somebody send oh, sorry, man. Oh, that's me. Nobody said anything. You guys don't want to write anything, man? Don't you write English? Like, even say, fuck you, I'll take it. Anyway, brothers, I got to go, man. I enjoy this. This is a record for my kids and for my grandkids in the future. I will leave a print of myself in this channel and on social media for the next 20, 30 years, I guess, right? I see ya. I don't want to be ya. Boom.